It's been a while since we've been out testing bikes because we've been moving Charge Cycle Works to a brand new facility and we're about to open to the public. So I'm super excited to be out here riding. And what are we riding, Nate?
Yeah, we got a new bike. So we've actually had this bike for about 2 months and I'm embarrassed to say that I haven't ridden it yet. So we have an Arctic Leopard that we wanted to evaluate, basically to put into our fleet of bikes. In the constant quest of like different size bikes for different people, different riding styles. You have actually ridden this bike. A
little bit, kind of around the yard, so that doesn't exactly count. It's got good power, I can tell you that.
Okay. So from what I remember you saying, very similar power delivery to the KTM Freeride. Probably faster than it needs to be as well, but maybe a billy goat type of bike can climb anything. That's what I want to see today. We're out in Cherry Creek, which is one of our favorite places to ride. You guys have seen us film out here before. On a Sur-Ron, it's a really fun place to ride. It really it's the most fun I've had on a Sur-Ron. This place is amazing.
Same here. Love this place.
So we're gonna see. I want to see if this bike is actually fun by comparison.
Yep. There's a monster hill climb we're gonna try to find out here that a stock Sur-Ron and Celeria cannot make up.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so steep.
I'm already done. I'm done.
I've got both brakes pulled in and I'm still falling backwards. Oh crap. The KTM Freeride made it up in our last video. So that was pretty much wide open, but I made it. We've never tried a Sur-Ron with a short wheelbase. I don't know if we can get up it. I'm curious if this can get up that nasty hill.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. I'm going to film riding it, just get first impressions and let everybody that's been asking us what we think about the bike, you'll get my raw impressions.
All right, startup procedure. I'm doing this off of memory and I don't exactly remember, but I believe you have to hit this lightning bolt twice. Okay, and that triggered it on. I can see I'm at 98% battery. And this is the same gauge we see on a lot of batteries. And I'm at 83.3 volts, which is pretty close to a full charge. 84 volts is all the way. Now, I can't actually go yet. Nothing happens when I twist the throttle. This has to be on, and then you just have to activate the rear brake, and then you can go.
All right, guys, so getting on the Arctic Leopard for the very first time. I just turned it on. There's a couple things that are worth mentioning in this ride. The rear brake, the hydraulic part feels like it's pushing all the way against the plunger and has no power. But this rear brake is a hybrid, so even if the rear brake goes out, because I did not bleed it before this ride to see if it was good to go, shame on me, the regen will still stop the bike. So every bit of rear braking you're going to see me doing this whole ride is the regen. Couple things that are kind of funny: if you hold in the rear brake and give it throttle, you can hear a little bit of an audible beep letting you know, and then now that I'm off the brake, the bike will go. You see it has a reverse button. If I hold that in and give it throttle, of course it has a reverse. So that's a little unique. I'm gonna ride in power mode 1. I'm gonna get used to not having a hydraulic rear brake here for a couple of minutes, and we'll see how it goes. Okay, so the suspension feels really good, actually. Front suspension feels better than the back, but not terrible. Okay, I gotta be careful not to keep my hand on the rear brake because it's kind of like a Sur-Ron before you cut the electronic part out. It will cut power as I'm riding, so we got to be very careful about that. Really happy to know that the rear brake, even without hydraulic fluid in it, works as a regen, and it actually works really, really well. Okay, so if you noticed a rattle, which I have been, and it's kind of driving me crazy, the rattle is actually the chain going through this chain tensioner device. And so the chain is always going to be rubbing on the swing arm. I feel like that's going to break eventually, and I hope I'm wrong, but the chain is actually fed through this very small opening for, I guess, just trying to keep chain slap down. Okay, so you notice how large the rear tire was. It's super soft. Hey, what PSI did you put in this rear tire?
I think it's 8.
8? It's below 10. Wow, okay.
Well, it's such a fat tire.
Yeah. Well, it feels really good.
Monster hill climb, way steeper than it looks like on camera. You can't get a stock Sur-Ron or a stock Talaria. You can only get up not even to that tree that's in the center. Below that, not enough power. Nate's gonna try it on my modified Sur-Ron, but I think the short wheelbase, he won't be able to make it up this hill. It's gonna want to loop out. And then he's gonna try it on the Arctic Leopard, which I think that might actually make it up. The only bike I've made it up this hill on is the KTM Freeride. Let's see what happens. It's wide open. Oh, the trials tire's tripping. We're getting it. So that was pretty much wide open, but I made it. And I am in power level 2. Look at that view. Oh, it's so steep.
I'm already done. I'm done.
I've got both brakes pulled in and I'm still falling backwards. Oh crap. Stop, KTM! Both brakes are locked and I'm just going... That's how heavy the KTM is. Its own brakes can't stop it.
As hard as I can. That's it. That's wide open.
That's wide open. Oh boy. Couldn't make it.
Here we go. So the hard end is the front end coming up. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. Yep. I'm gonna try this from the bottom because again, no belt to slip. I think I can just like let it rip. Man, besides hitting that, I mean, I had all the momentum.
So steep.
Well, we're gonna try it again.
There we go.
Oh my gosh. Well, obviously I made it a lot higher. That's I mean, this thing climbs really well. I will say at slow speeds, this bike is extremely easy to ride. You can get through anything that you want at slow speed without even having to put a foot down. You can balance extremely well. I think that's probably mostly due to that just massive wide rear tire, but also just the stance of the bike just makes it easy to stand up and go through things really slowly. If you're the kind of rider that sits down quite a bit, like you're going to be doing trail riding, I'm sitting down right now. Suspension is soft enough, although we're riding in some pretty sandy, soft terrain. The bike's super comfortable. No complaints about the ergonomics. I might put just slightly taller handlebars on it, just because I'm 6 feet tall, and I like my bars a little bit taller, like I would, you know, on my KTM dirt bike. But otherwise, for a bike out of the box, feels pretty good. So one other thing that's kind of interesting, obviously battery compartment, you can see that the seat goes all the way up. Oh wow. So I'll be honest, man, I feel like I can climb anything on this bike. And so here's Afton on the free ride. She's made it up this on her dirt bike before, but and here's Ella on my bike. I don't know that she's been out here before, and I don't know that she's ever done this hill climb.
Yeah, Brielle. That's fun.
Hey, honestly, Brian, I want to see how this thing's going to climb. I'm going to start from here.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. Because it's so easy to ride.
Nate's going to see how much of a billy goat this is.
Yeah, so I'm going to keep it in power mode 1, and we're going to see if it has enough power. But I keep talking about how easily you can ride up anything you want on this bike. So I'm going right up the steepest part. Yeah, I mean, it's super easy. Yeah, it's like a trials bike on the on that kind of stuff. Super easy to ride. For reference, guys, this is me going walking speed with my feet on the foot pegs. Like I can ride up anything on this bike super slow. Versus, you know, on the Sur-Ron, how if you have, like, for example, on my bike, the power turned up, it's easy to climb, but as soon as the rear tire spins, it just spins out so fast. So as modular as this power is, again, I'm just kind of like crawling up this hill with my feet on the pegs, and it's just terribly easy to ride. So maybe that's one other comparison point, is the rear tire or wheel will not spin as freely, maybe when you don't want it to. Kind of helps with bike control when you're riding on really technical terrain, which is why I think this bike would have been really good at the TKO race. So here's a hill climb, and Brian is just joking that I haven't turned it up to 3 yet, so it is now, and oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time. Okay, well, that's embarrassing. Let me get back into the middle of the trail here. Okay, there we go. Wow, 3 is really powerful. It's actually working against me. Well, for a lot of the Utah guys that have been out here, you know that coming up this hill versus going down is kind of tricky, because this whole time you're just trying to, like, get traction. Everything's super loose. Going down it, obviously it's always easier going down anything, but the reason I wanted to film this is that was me on regen brake. Pretty nice to know that I still have a functional rear brake that's strong enough to, let me go down a hill that steep. Switched it up to 3 just to chase Brian up that hill climb, and I did not have enough momentum. So what was going on there is the bike was too powerful for how loose it was, and I was having a really hard, difficult time controlling it, because I've been very used to power mode 1. So now I have put it back in the middle, and I am on power mode 2. So now you guys can see this is a fun trail section. Show you what 2 looks like. Wow, Ella's moving in this section. As a trail bike, this bike is really good, really good. Like this kind of rocky stuff, how do I best put this? I would dab my foot down way less on this bike than I would my Sur-Ron. It's just really planted, really solid feeling. So as a trail bike, Billy Goat, it is awesome. This section, however, is probably not, well, it's definitely not as much fun on this bike. The rear end is a little bit harsh, and the front's great. I mean, the front is fantastic.
That was Whoopville.
Not as much fun.
It's pretty fun. I was doubling on this one.
Yeah, so I was just saying it's a blast on my Sur-Ron. This is really good at technical riding. Like, I probably could have done really well in the Red Bull race on this bike.
Yeah.
But out here, the Sur-Rons are so much fun that you can't compare it. So, couple things. I just took you guys through a section where this bike does not do well. Super fast, super big whoops. It's just not this bike's strength. What is its strength is that slow technical, maybe sitting down riding is another one, climbing for sure. I will say that the brakes, you will never have to touch them. They're extremely strong. The front, I keep just using one finger and I can stop as fast as I want. The rear, having issues right now, but the regen part works extremely well. I would say if you're just a little bit more, I want to call it a casual rider compared to like how Brian and I typically ride. Let me just say a normal trail rider maybe, you would really like this bike. It is bigger and more comfortable than a Sur-Ron. I can sit down without thinking like the seat needs to be raised up. If you only ever ride kind of like 7 out of 10, you know, at a normal pace, like 8, 9, and 10 would be like race pace. If you're just below that, where you like riding fast, but you're never gonna like, you know, be racing like Brian and I do each other, even when we're just out riding. Again, this bike, super strong.